Oh, welcome into another edition of the Sharp App NFL Countdown to Kickoff show presented by the Sharp App here. Here we are in week 17 of the NFL season, folks. And this is just a truly special week. You know that we got the fantasy football finals out there this week. We got lots of great bets and stuff like that. But since he's waiting here in the room already, I'm going to bring on the Philly Godfather a little early today. Thank you for joining us. By the way, the first guest of the Sharp App Countdown to Kickoff show. So always has a true spot in my heart here. Happy New Year, PG.
Happy holidays, guys. Happy New Year, man. Hope everything's going great for you guys. Bowl season's been really nice, so that always helps this time of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a nice day there with the college football playoff, and then Utah coming through for me there, holding them to a field goal at the end with the thing there. So we just got to keep that momentum rolling right into today. So Philly Godfather is here. So of course we got to start in Philly with this Eagles Washington game today. So little bit of weird movement here towards the end of the week. I thought we saw quite a bit of money on Washington, but now the line jumped back up to Eagles -6 was the last I saw it. So what do you make out of that?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to one of the sharper offshore books, I see some 6.5s out there in the market. Open 3. It's been moving up. I mean, Washington is in disarray. The Philadelphia Eagles team over recent play, top 5 in opponent yards per play, top 5 in yards per play, playing some real good football. They're not turning the ball over. They just haven't beaten anyone all year. They're 0-5 against teams with winning records. So that scares me a little bit. And if you remember, a couple of games ago when they played Washington, it was 10-10 at halftime, and Washington was missing 22 of its players due to
Yeah.
COVID on a short week on a Wednesday night. So if this line gets to 7, I'll be looking to take some Washington money here. I think it's been an over adjustment here in the market. +7 in Washington. I mean, it's a division game, and as great as the Eagles have looked, I mean, they've beaten up on some bad teams. If it gets to 7, I might be looking to nibble a little bit on Washington.
Yeah, I was looking at the, like the betting percentages and stuff like that earlier. Percentage of bets was high on the Eagles there coming into, I guess, to today. And then I look at the percentage of money, and it's just, we're right around 50-50 for that too. So that just adds a little bit of layer of intrigue to it. I know one of our coaches here, Capper Steve, gave away the Washington +6.5 as a good play today. If you can get that at the right book, as PG just mentioned. So yeah, that's certainly going to be an interesting one there. But that was the one line that definitely caught my eye going into today. Another bit of movement here. We're seeing the Kansas City Chiefs at the Bengals. Chiefs all the way down to 3.5 now on that. I actually took this a step further. With those New Year's earnings that I won off college football, I said, you know what? Let me pay up a little bit, make this Kansas City 2.5. What do you like here in this one?
Actually, when the line was up as high as 5.5, I nibbled on some 6, but I'm going to take some 3 back. I'm hoping it drops even farther. A lot of the public's right now betting Cincinnati, but if it gets to 3, how can you not nibble on this Kansas City Chiefs team? Second half of the season, they might be the best team in football. You look at the yards per play metric. You look at their defense, second least opponent yards per play, opponent yards per play over like the last 4 weeks. So they're really shutting teams down on the defensive side of the ball. At -3, you got to look a little bit. You got to nibble a little bit on Kansas City, I think.
So I know that you're probably not a big fantasy guy, right? You just stick more within the betting realm.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I've never done it. My kids are all into it. I mean, you can't spread yourself too thin, and in this sports betting market, it's so hard. You got to do so much research. You got to look at the metrics. You got to look, who's playing, who's not important. You got to import, injuries, export, guys coming back. I mean, there's so much to do that, it's going to take me 4 hours a day just to handicap a game. And if I start getting into fantasy, I got no more time left to do anything else.
So, all right. So we got to use the betting expertise today to my selfish personal advantage, right? So no Lamar Jackson, it's looking like, for the Baltimore Ravens today. So I'm in the fantasy finals in my hometown league, which means extraordinary bragging rights for 365 days. But I got this I don't know if it's a good or a bad problem today, where I got to go with either Taysom Hill going up against the Panthers or Trey Lance, making the start today against the Houston Texans. What do you think is I'll ask you, what do you think is the better team play and then maybe we could make a decision based on the quarterback after that.
I mean, Houston's coming off a big win, but I mean, that line's 14 in San Francisco. Trey Lance is playing. Houston's defense is in disarray. I mean, you got to take him straight up today. That's all you got to do.
Well, just the player, right? So just either Taysom Hill or Trey Lance.
I think Trey Lance has a much bigger day than Taysom.
Yeah, I think so too. And we're also looking at the totals in that game. The total in the San Fran Houston game is, I believe, a whole touchdown higher than it is in the Saints Panthers. That's a divisional matchup, so you could also get the the defensive stuff going there. So, all right, that was a quick decision. I think we're good to go on that one. What were some of your favorite plays of this week?
I like Buffalo here. I mean, Atlanta's missing their corner. There's no weather in Buffalo. I laid 13.5. I don't know how they don't go over 45 points. What's the total? Total right now is at 46. It opened 44. They should score a ton of points there. I like that a little bit. I like Arizona +7. Dallas has been smoking hot. They're great against the number. They've been covering almost. I think they're 11-3 against the closing number this year. But I think Arizona bounces back here at +7. At that key number, you got to take a little bit on the Cardinals there. I think they bounce back a little bit. Tennessee at 3. I mean, they're the better team. Miami, they've won a bunch of games in a row. But if you look again how they played against the Saints, they struggled, and the Saints were missing 20 players on that team, and they pulled away in the end. But it just their offense just isn't good enough. I think Tennessee, especially with the news of Derrick Henry that he's coming back for the first game of the playoffs, that's a big boost for them too. I think Tennessee gets it done here at -3. Chargers, anything under a touchdown now, it's moved past that key number of 7, maybe a little too high. I laid 3 on the Rams early in the week, but now that's up to 7.
Yeah.
You got to jump in early. It's tough with all the COVID and all this stuff that's going on, and it's so tough to try and gauge who's going to play, who's not going to play this time of the year. I had some teaser action on Cleveland, on the Colts, teased them down early in the week. Also on Cincinnati when they were at 5.5, I took some +12.5 in a couple different teasers. That's basically it, man. I think New Orleans bounces back this week big. They get a bunch of players back. Arizona, like I said, Buffalo. Tampa Bay scares me a little bit, 14 on the road. Jets have actually beat some good teams at home this year, and that seems like a little bit too much for me there at 14. I can't lay the 14 on Tampa Bay there. And Chicago, surprisingly, they're the right side at -6. Dalton's playing. The Giants just got nothing to play for. I mean, a lot of these guys are going to pack it in. Nobody wants to get injured this time of the year. A lot of these guys have given up. So I kind of like the Bears a little bit as well.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd see some BD Nick today out there for the Bears. They get the win outright in Seattle last week. I'm like, come on, man. But, Dalton going back to quarterback there. I went Bears 6.5, so I'm going to be there. I think that they could, it's such a low total in that game with 36.5. I just think that means that the Giants aren't going to score at all today, to be quite honest with you. And then, to go back to fantasy, I had to make a very tough choice today between Chicago Bears defense going up, or I go with the Dallas defense. Dallas defense, 4 straight weeks, they're putting up touchdowns, all these massive sacks and all this other stuff. However, I think, you were talking about it there with the Cardinals. I think it could be sort of a rebound game for them today. I mean, they've just looked like shit for way too long. And, I hate their guts for killing my NFC West +650 ticket, but maybe they see the Bucs there in the first round of the playoffs, and we get to hammer them as a punishment. I had a lot of offers to go to that Bucs Jets game today, and I was just like, come on, man, fantasy playoff. We got so many good bets today. I'm gonna be out with my buddies at the bar watching this one. So
yeah, it's a pretty cool bet right now. You can take the Eagles at 70-1 to win the whole thing. Now nobody thinks they're going to win the whole thing, but they're -250 to make the playoffs. So basically right around 70% implied probability they make the playoffs. So if they catch a team sleeping or a team banged up in the first round of the playoffs, then you can always hedge that ticket. So that might be something you look at because it looks like they're going to get in the playoffs. I mean, at -250, you get 70-1. That might be something to look at. The Browns right now at 5-1 to make the playoffs. All they got to do is go 2-0. They're playing a banged up Steelers team, and they have beaten the Bengals earlier in the year, so they can definitely beat them twice. Which isn't going to be easy, but you can always hedge your bet if they beat the Steelers this week, next week.
Yeah.
And some free money. So there are 2 little gambling angles you can look at this week if you want to try and make some free money on the hedge. But it's going to be another crazy week, man. Anything and everything's possible. It's a week-to-week league. The NFL's out of control, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Indeed. So one last question before we get you out of here for the day. We saw Matty Corral, the guy from Ole Miss last night with that, the horrible injury there. What do you think of these players? We saw a couple of guys for Ohio State not play in the bowl game because, they want to stay healthy, going into their NFL careers. What do you think about these guys setting out?
I think it's a smart move. I mean, college football has made so much money off these players, has made so much money off these bowl games over the years, and now the tide's starting to turn a little bit with the players. These guys got to look out for their best interest. They got to look out for number one. And you saw what happened to that poor kid. I mean, he got hurt. He might never get paid. You never know. And this is, these colleges are super rich. They own everything. You look around, they own all the real estate, all the property, they own everything.
Yeah.
Give these kids some money. I got no problem with that. I've been talking about that for years, man. If I was a quarterback looking to, go to the pros, I wouldn't play.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a tough one. You want to be out there with your guys, and you spent the last 4, maybe 5 years with the program and stuff like that. And I don't know, like there's a lot of different things you could say. Like you owe it to the fans that paid top dollar to come to the game. Like there's all kinds of stuff. But I think at the end of the day, as a player, sitting out and looking out for your best interest, right? Because if you tear your ACL, one of those guys paying that top dollar money to come see you play, they're not helping you out for the rest of your life. You can only help yourself. So I think that was a great way to put it.
Yeah, we're talking big money, man. We're not talking small paper no more, man. It's big money. Not just the contracts, the advertising, all the endorsements that come along with it. Here's a kid that was definitely going to, be in the NFL. And he might not be the same. So it's a lot of money.
All right. What's the Sunday plans for today?
Just chilling out, watching some football out here on the farm, and hoping we can make some money. Like I said, thank God the bowl season was great to us. Now we got to win some money in the NFL today and call it a good week.
Yes, indeed. All right, brother. Thank you for coming on. As always, Philly Godfather. You can follow him on Twitter at Philly, or is it the Philly Godfather? Or Philly Godfather?
At Philly Godfather, and the website's thephillygodfather.com.
All right. Sounds good. All right, brother. Have a good one. Talk soon.
You got it.
All right. That was the Philly Godfather. As I mentioned, follow him there on Twitter. Guy gives away ridiculous amounts of free plays, and they're good plays. It's not, it's not total crap that you're getting out there. New guests on here. My man, BC. You go follow him on Twitter at BC, a.k.a. The Man. Make sure you subscribe to his show, The Air Attack, with just all sorts of great stuff. We're talking sports. We're talking politics. We're talking pop culture. We got it all. How's the opening to the new year, my man?
It was good. Cash with Alabama, not once but twice. I don't love doubling up on some of these games, but had Alabama on the back end of a money line parlay with the Packers and the Cowboys, and also on the back end of a 2-team teaser with the Chiefs. And those are all, again, you follow me on Twitter at BC, a.k.a. The Man. They're all out there for you. So we've had a really nice week. We cashed last week. Got a little bit lucky that the Vikings got over the line. Team total over 22.5. So far, so good. And we'll try to keep it going here. Very tricky, as the Godfather just said, to try to get in early and get value. But then again, you can't handicap COVID, as one person so eloquently put it to me on Twitter this past week, and it's the truth. I mean, you can look for value, but then next thing you know, it's Friday night, and there's a laundry list of guys that just aren't available. And we've seen games moved and everything. And last time I was here, I think we talked about this. The NFL is going to figure out a way to get around some of this stuff. They've loosened up the rules a little bit. Now Carson Wentz is going to play. That's actually significant to me. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, a few weeks ago, if he had tested positive, he'd be gone. And, whether you like the rules, you want to get into the vaccine debate or anything like that, I'm not interested in that. The bottom line is the rules are what they are. And you just got to sort of hold your breath. Not quite sure what Patrick Mahomes was doing at a football game on Friday night. I don't know if you caught that.
But, I did see that.
Now, Travis Kelce's not going to get tested. The best thing that could happen to you right now, honestly, all joking aside, if you've got a playoff spot locked up, one of the best things that could happen to you is that you test positive, because then they're done testing you for the rest of the season.
Yep.
Travis Kelce falls in that category, but Patrick Mahomes does not. So far be it from him or his girlfriend to make bad decisions. But then again, here we are. So, I don't know what happened afterwards. I am assuming they flew right back to Kansas City. It was New Year's Eve, but an interesting look.
He got private jet money. That, like, after I said, what the hell is he doing at the game? And I was like, all right, you got private jet money. It's cool. It's cool. But, I mean, I shouldn't say it's cool, but, from a logistics standpoint. Hey, look, I saw him out there warming up on the field in Cincy. He's there. He looks like he's all right. He looks like he didn't take a college football game in on Friday.
Good. Then I guess that's all.
That settles it. That's it. By the way, since I got you on a little early here, I still got to go down the list of injuries because We got to Philly Godfather a little earlier than I wanted to, but I just want to run down these real quick. Lamar Jackson looks like he's going to be out there for the Ravens. Jimmy Garoppolo also as well, sort of the same situation. I don't believe they have officially been ruled inactive, but we know they're going to be inactive. Teddy Bridgewater for the Broncos, he's out today. Jared Goff for the Lions, he's out today. Kirk Cousins tonight, he's out tonight for the Minnesota Vikings. Guys that are in today, Carson Wentz will be starting, as Brett just mentioned there, for the Colts. Andy Dalton, unfortunately, will be starting for the Chicago Bears, and Taysom Hill will be back under center there for the New Orleans Saints. Any of that information there that kind of gets you thinking a different way?
Yeah. So, we kind of had some fun last time I was here. We talked about the Texans and the Jags and how I was staying off that game because of self-respect and just obviously.
And how I had right? None. Yes.
Guess what? I was going slumming today. I was on the Bears as a teaser leg until I saw they were starting Andy Dalton, and I'm like, what do you do? I mean, Matt Nagy just can't get anything right in Chicago. He's probably gone anyway, but why not just ride some of that energy with Nick Foles? Now you got Andy Dalton, who's very good at hitting guys between the numbers. It's just they're wearing different uniforms than he is, and it's a problem there. The Giants, I agree. The Giants, and I'm going to try to figure out how to put this the proper way. I have good reason to believe the Giants are not going to be maxing out on the effort this week or next week. And think about it. Why would they? The Bears, on the other hand, actually gave away their first-round draft pick to the Giants.
That's right.
Justin Fields. So I do think you have guys wanting to play. And look, you can talk about guys having nothing to play for. That only goes so far because guys, maybe they have a contract coming up. In the age of social media, everyone wants to make a highlight play or just work on their own personal brand. So not every team's going to mail it in like you saw maybe whatever we saw from Washington last week. And that was just a perfect storm, I think, of Christmas weekend. We're out of the playoffs. We're playing like garbage. Once again, the Dallas defensive line is making a mockery of your quarterback, and it does happen. Teams just sort of lay down. I honestly believe that's what you're going to see with the Giants. I'm just not in a position where I need a couple different things to happen, and one of them relies on Andy Dalton. I can't do it. There's a reason I spend so much time watching games and then breaking them down and everything like that. And to me, I'm not going to be in a situation where Andy Dalton's giving the Giants 10 points on defense. I'm just not going to do it. But they probably are the side. They're probably the side no matter what. I just don't trust Andy Dalton. Simple as that, and I'm not going to put my money behind him.
So I did take Bears -6.5 today, right? Like I know I could have got that number better. However, the one thing that I look at in this game is the total, like 36.5, the lowest all season. I just think that means that the Giants aren't going to score any points today. And I'm sure you heard earlier, I had, I got this situation in fantasy this week where it was either the Bears defense or the Cowboys defense. But seeing that low 36.5 point total, feel like I got to go with the Bears in that situation.
Wait, what are your choices today? The Bears defense or the Cowboys defense?
Yeah.
Oh, the Bears. That's got to be the Bears. First of all, you're right about that.
The outdoor game too.
Yeah, it's going to be the 20s with major wind today in Chicago. Okay, I mean like a serious. You're dealing with serious elements there. Sometimes there's 7 to 10 miles an hour of wind. You don't want to go crazy with that stuff. These guys are professionals. They're experienced. But when you're talking about getting down to the 20s, you even have a game tonight in Green Bay where it's going to be around 0. It's going to be, and I looked at that line move. I'll get back to the Bears in a second. I looked at that line move. That's that's too much of an over adjustment because of Kirk Cousins not being there. And then they go in there. They're going to start Sean Mannion. They don't want Kellen Mond getting hurt. Packers do have trouble with running quarterbacks. That could have been an opportunity there. But then I also look at the fact that it's going to be ridiculously cold. And when
5 degrees.
Yeah, when you get down like in the 40s, the 30s, that's one thing. But when you go down from 30 to 25, 25 to 20, and then like 10 to 5 to 0, every couple degrees makes a difference. Just think about it when you're hot, when you're on the golf course. Yeah, it's going to be 90, it's going to be 94, it's going to be 90. That stuff matters. It's a big deal. That's when you talk about hydration and how dangerous it is. You're going to have some weather, and like I said, a Giants team that's not really going to be an 11 out of 10 in terms of like the energy level. Now you're going to go freeze your ass off in Chicago. It's going to be incredibly windy. Mike Lennon's been scary enough under good conditions. So for your predicament there, think about this. I also am. I'll go ahead and just tell you this now. But I'm on the Cardinals today. I'm on them as a teaser leg, and one reason is that Dallas has had some trouble stopping running quarterbacks. Might as well get into this right now. Early this year, Taysom Hill, 11 rushes, 101 yards.
Wow.
Going back to last year. Now, remember, there's no Micah Parsons last year, so let's be fair about it. But Jalen Hurts, 9 rushes, 69 yards. Lamar Jackson, 13 rushes for 94 yards. You can run as a quarterback against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they're playing it in Jerry World. They're playing indoors. And the Cardinals could not possibly be as bad as they were on Christmas. Whether or not, some guys get so hung up into analytics and data, and those things are important tools to use. Remember something. These are human beings. It was Christmas night. You always wonder about the home team getting sort of picked apart by family, people wanting tickets, dinner plans, whatever's going on. Let's just use a little common sense here. COVID rules or vaccines, whatever your thoughts are on those things, there's a reason why these guys all started testing positive right after Thanksgiving. I mean, do I have to really spell it out for you? And it's not that hard to me. I almost expected it. So, yeah, I just don't think the Cardinals are anywhere near as bad as they were on Christmas. They had all kinds of opportunities. They had kicking problems that day, problems with Colt McCoy being the holder. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong that day for them. They're not that bad. I expect Kyler Murray to have some success here. And so they will be on the end of a teaser. I'll give you the other team in a little while. But yeah, to me, your predicament, to me, I just think the Giants are lifeless on offense. So Bears versus Cowboys, to me, that's easy. The other thing about the Cowboys you touched on, they're scoring on defense. That's not going to keep happening. I'm sorry, but you're not going to, a defense isn't going to go and score 22 times, throughout the course of a season. Obviously, you have an interception machine in Trayvon Diggs. You got guys getting it. Taylor Heineke is just going to have nightmares about that defensive front, and they're impressive, and they do generate a lot of pressure. But that's just not the kind of thing to me that projects over the course of a season. Hopefully, Cliff Kingsbury has his team a little better prepared than he did 8 days ago. So an extra day of rest for Arizona probably doesn't hurt in that case.
No, absolutely.
By the Giants way, right now, I think are like a bot. I think the Giants are honestly one of the worst offenses in football, if not the worst right now. I can't think of a worse offense than them. I mean, really.
I was going to say, you mentioned the golf course before in terms of like the temperatures and stuff. A win today in the fantasy finals basically pays for my trip to Myrtle Beach, right? So like
when are you going to Myrtle Beach?
End of March.
Oh, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Look at you. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, man. So what I say, hey, big win today in fantasy. You know what the best trip to Myrtle Beach is, right?
What's that? A free one?
A free one.
Lucky guess.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. So also we got to look at the running backs that are out today too. Gibson going to be out for Washington. Miles Sanders also going to be out for Philly in the same game. We'll touch on that game in a sec here. And then Kansas City, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be out with the shoulder injury. Guy that I'm actually going up against in the finals today, James Conner, true game time decision with the heel injury. So that might affect you in some way. Although I'm a big fan of Chase Edmonds and Eno Benjamin should James Conner not be able to play. And then guys that are playing today, Damian Harris will play. By the way, I want to get to this great prop bet situation that we're going to touch on here in a little bit with Damian Harris. Jordan Howard will play for the Eagles. Elijah Mitchell looks like he's going to play for the Niners today. And then for Denver, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams both look like they're going to play through the injuries, which they have been doing for the last couple weeks. So I do like the Chargers because of that. Also, too, Denver's missing Jerry Jeudy and Tim Patrick today with COVID. Like, they're just getting absolutely ravaged today. So,
are they? Oh, those guys are out now?
Yeah, absolutely. With the COVID stuff. So absolutely love the Chargers there today. But let's do Philly, Washington real quick, because this line jumped up today. This was, I believe, Philly 4.5. And we talked about this with Philly Godfather at the very open, but, I'm curious to get your thoughts on it here. 4.5 jumps all the way up to 6. So when it was at 4.5, there was a lot of money coming in on Washington, and a lot of the bets were on Philly, which is, that's a situation you want to avoid is better. However, massive rush of money today from Philly. Do you agree with that, or is that just overreaction on the Antonio Gibson being out?
I think it's an overreaction based on the slaughter that you saw on Sunday Night Football last week.
Yeah, that's right.
I just think, you got guys throwing punches on sidelines, and I know we've gotten soft as a society, or at least society's gotten soft around us, and this kind of stuff happens, but I can't remember the last time a guy with a cast on his hand took a swing at his own teammate, and that actually happened on live TV in front of a lot of people. Taylor Heineke was running for his life. The body language on Washington was awful. Now, on the other side, am I going to lay 6 points? And I would expect there to be a decent amount of Eagles fans there. It's not like it's some big road trip across the country. You can drive down there in, an hour and a half, whatever it is. So you'll probably have a lot of Eagles fans and probably some fights in the stands. That'll be entertaining if you're at FedEx Field today. I'm not touching the game. I'm not laying 6 points on the road with Jalen Hurts. I mean, you actually saw Nick Sirianni getting into it with him, and I think it was the first time these two teams played, or maybe it was last week, but I believe in that weekday game, he's just tired of Jalen Hurts making goofy turnovers. And while I do think this is a good spot for the Eagles, obviously they are alive in the playoffs in this new playoff format now where you have 7 teams. You have all these teams. Like, no one thought the Eagles were going to be a playoff team like at the end of September, right? They were just too immature. The coach wasn't clicking. They got guys throwing stuff at them from the stands. Now they are in position to make the playoffs, and they probably do get a win today. But to me, 6 points, there has to be limits to these things. I mean, you look at the Kansas City game, and I think I heard your last guest mention Cincinnati was very popular with the public. Of course they're going to be, because Joe Burrow threw the ball all over the place last week, yada, yada, yada. But, that's a game where you would have thought the Chiefs would have been like a point and a half favorite. Now they're 3.5, 4-point favorites. At some point, you have to say, gee, how often am I going to, how often am I going to lay this many points on the road to some of these teams? Now, I'd be much more likely to do it with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs than I would in Philadelphia. And of course, we come back to the human element of this whole thing. I mean, Jalen Hurts now having to win a game on the road is a little different than playing a game in October, November. Some of these winning streaks with some of these teams, I believe your last guest also touched on Miami. That's maybe the most unimpressive 7-game winning streak I've ever seen in my life. I mean, honestly, it's comical that Dolphins fans are kind of puffing their chest out about that. So I'm laying off the game. I would expect Philadelphia to have some success here today. I would, but I just don't think that, it's one of those things where I'm not touching that Washington football team, because that could be a team that is absolutely in lay down mode. But I'm just not laying 6 points on the road with Jalen Hurts. I refuse to do it. Maybe if they're at Houston or something like that. But in a division game like this, I would think you would get a spirited bunch from Washington if I had to guess. I think they were embarrassed on national TV. I think they know it. I think they want to. And honestly, the other thing about that team is I think they like that coach. I think they like Ron Rivera. And there are some coaches that I personally don't think the Chicago Bears can stand Matt Nagy. I just don't think anyone likes him there. Nothing he does works. The guy wears a visor when it's 20 degrees. Like, what are we doing here?
With a bald head. Come on, bro.
I'm like, that never occurs to me. But yeah,
that's a bad look for all of us.
Yeah, it's absurd, and it's like, oh, look, another bad decision from Matt Nagy, just like not starting Nick Foles today. And I think teams kind of tend to turn on coaches they don't like. I think Washington actually likes that coach. They're not nearly as bad as what you saw against Dallas, but they were bad. You could maybe factor Christmas weekend into some of that, and just the way the season has gone there. I think that against a team they don't like very much, you might get a little more spirit from that team than maybe you'd expect on paper. So to me, I'm not touching the game. I want no part of that Washington team, but I'm certainly not going to lay that many points with Philadelphia. Sorry.
Yeah, I hear you, man. All right. So all right. So the prop bet. So by the way, thank you to our own Jason Mizrahi today for pointing this out. If you go on DraftKings right now, you're going to see Damian Harris as a minus 120 anytime scorer today against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where they're 17-point favorites. Also, if you want to take this a step further, I gotta go. I thought I had this screenshot here. Bear with me here.
Some of these numbers are wild. Go ahead. Some of these numbers are just crazy.
Oh my goodness. All right. So the other one was Damian Harris to score in the first quarter. Okay. Sorry, DraftKings logged out on me here real quick. This is live action, folks. All right. So anytime touchdown score in the first quarter, plus 600. And then anytime touchdown score first half, plus 260. So as Jason mentioned, we have the different prices out there for prop bets there on the Sharp app. So you can go out there and see what a huge difference that DraftKings just did not update the numbers on Damian Harris. Everybody else or all the other sports books out there apparently made the adjustment. But Harris is playing today. I know he had that hamstring injury. A lot of people might be iffy on him, but he is going up against Jaguars. Sure, Stevenson's back as well. He could certainly cut into the mix, but we're talking about Damian Harris here against the, by the way, White Claw. Love the style.
No, Celsius. It's a Celsius. It's an energy drink.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, not, it was just New Year's. I'll leave it at that. But no, it's an energy drink, but it doesn't taste like you just drank Drano. It's actually got green tea and ginger in it. It's incredibly popular. Flies off the shelves. I'm telling you, it's great. They got it in supermarkets now.
It is. I used to drink it all the time, but
first of all, I don't like the hard seltzer stuff, and the energy drinks to me, like the Red Bulls and the Monster, I'm just like, this is not good. And I actually had a chance to meet Joe LaCava over the summer, Tigers caddy, and he's decked out in Monster stuff because that's one of Tiger's sponsors, and I'm like, I was drinking one of these beverages, and he's like, "What is that?" I said, "Well, it's kind of like Monster, but you don't feel allergy." He goes, "Well, because I wouldn't know. I never drank that shit." So, I mean, even the guys who promote this stuff sometimes, but probably doesn't appreciate me saying that, but I just did anyway. So an energy drink that's a little bit more organic and doesn't make you feel like you're poisoning yourself. So that's what it is. We did New Year's Eve at home, like a professional, pizza and college football playoff, and then New Year's Day brunch. So
nice, very nice.
Would have been nice. Yeah, it was fair. It's like an.
Are you going out today? By the way,
I'm not. No, I'm not.
All right.
We had a long one yesterday, and Sundays, I don't go out for many Sundays. I think I've been out for one Sunday this year. There was talk of going to MetLife Stadium when the Saints were in town, because obviously I do have a connection to somebody, from New Orleans. So that didn't happen because my fear was very cold that day. My fear was getting stuck outside that dump and waiting for a train or a car in the freezing cold. Little did I know there were like 10,000 people there by the end of the game. You could probably, if you wanted to go to I'm not saying you want to do this, but if you wanted to go see the Bucs today, you could probably just go to the stadium and by like 1:10, you could probably get within like 10, 20 rows of the field on someone's app. So you could pay like $20 to get in, or probably like $10 to get in the door. And then you could probably upgrade your seats when the game already starts if you wanted to do that. We could have done that. But again, I just, to me, to keep track of everything and to really get a feel for what's going on with the games, I like to do it at home. Once in a while, it's fun to go out. If I go out, it's usually more like in the 4 o'clock window because there's less to keep track of. But at 1 o'clock, I find myself negotiating with bartenders to get the right stuff on TV. Even yesterday, going out to brunch at like 1:30, they had stuff on from the night before. And I get it. You work at a bar. You probably were completely wasted yourself and it went to bed at 5, 6 in the morning. Now you got to work the next day. But my God, you got 25 TVs in here and half of them are on infomercials. What are we doing here? Pens, like, what? They always do this. What channel? What channel's the game on? Well, maybe it's on ESPN or ESPN, or maybe you should just know what channel the game is on because you work at a bar with 25 TVs. Stop it.
You are the voice of the people. You are the voice. But you know what I do, right? So probably going to do like, the Rock or the Vic today, just keep it local. What I like to do is I just grab the remote and I say, I'll do this for you while, you're trying to get your, what do you call it? Your tabs closed out from the 1 o'clock window. You're trying to get the new ones going for the 4. I got you on the remote. You handle that. I got you.
The 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock transfer is difficult. The other thing that makes it difficult in this particular area when you have two local teams, this never used to happen. This never, ever used to happen. And they did it once in December, like 7-8 years ago. And now they do it all the time. The Giants and Jets play at the same time all the time because lately they both suck. So they're not going to put them, because what's happened is now you're making these like a national broadcast on Fox or CBS at 4 or something. Well, who's going to waste one of those on the Giants and Jets?
Hide New York. And
it's ridiculous. So now you go to a bar. Now if that bar's we got 8 or 9 TVs, that's plenty. Well, now people want the Giants and Jets on like 2 screens. There's not enough left over. And if I want to come in and watch the Chiefs and Bengals, or I want to come in and watch, the Eagles and Washington or something like that, now it's like I'm bothering somebody. I had like the one time we went out this year, I made sure I got to the place at 12:30, hung out, made sure the TVs were all lined up. And now this is the week that the Jets played the Titans. Here comes some Titans fans and here comes some Jets fans, and they're demanding the TVs be changed. And I literally had to yell across like 7 people, no, we're not changing anything. You don't like it, get here earlier. I got here. Where were you? If you care so much, get there before the game start. And then I'm talking to security. And then at 4 o'clock, a guy decides he's going to give me a piece of his mind to make an example out of me. And I had the Chiefs in a teaser at Philadelphia that day, and they were up by like 3 scores. And I demanded that they keep the game on until the last tick of the clock, just for spite, because that fool wanted to watch the Broncos game. And I forget who they were playing that day.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was. Shit, I don't remember. Maybe
I think that might have been the day the Broncos played the Ravens, and John Harbaugh went for the rushing thing. Remember, you want to keep it like 100-yard rushing. I think it was that day. Okay. And the guy was obnoxious, and I'm like, there's a bunch of, and eventually a manager comes over, and I said, look, it's nothing personal, but you got to put games on, choose what TVs they're going to be on, and then you can't just have people shuffling in because that guy wants the Jets game on. Okay, then what happens, 15 minutes after that, and a Browns fan comes in, and then they want that TV change. How many times does somebody come in and demand the television be changed? And somebody said, well, I thought you were watching this game. I said, I'm at a bar. I'm trying to watch multiple games. What is wrong with you?
Well, the thing is, you need to have somebody like me nearby that's crafty with the remote that can do these things, right? That has the balls to go up to the bartenders. I will take that remote for you. I'll go up to the owner. I'll be like, listen, everybody's got money. Everybody's got shit going on here, right? We got to put our bets in, make sure they're good.
I get tired of this, getting looked at like I'm bothering somebody just because I want the games on. Again, why does your established spend $40 grand on television? Yeah, why are you spending $40 grand on television? So now I got a blank, like they don't even realize there's a blank screen behind them with the DirecTV because the game there's nothing on that channel anymore. There's like 3 games on at 4 o'clock and you only have 2 of them on, and somehow this is my fault. And by the way, I'm leaving my home and spending money. What am I doing all this for? That's why I have my home set up the way I want. I've got everything I want to eat here. I got, plenty of TVs, everything. And that's just how it is now. And I've learned that I actually enjoy it much better. But it's actually, all joking aside, it's easier for me to keep track of stuff, especially at 1 o'clock from my home. It just is. So especially in the era of live betting, I don't want to be in an establishment where I can't get a signal. Now I can't get a live play in because everything was jammed up and now the thing's off the board, right? So to me, home is the best place for it. If you have just one game going on, you want to go out and party during a game or something, yeah, no problem. But for me, home is really where you're going to find me most Sundays.
Yeah, it's a doozer, but especially today. By the way, I want to clip that 5-minute rant that we just had and just like make sure that we save it and pass it to every bartender in the tri-state area. That was beautiful. Like
That's
that
me. I want to just hold
that
my
could
cell
not
phone
have
up.
been identified more perfectly.
What channel is it on? Oh no, stop it. I'm not doing this. You find out.
Goodness. All right, so I guess just to end it off today, you want to recap the plays that you're on?
Okay, so again, we are treading lightly once again today. It's no diss on anybody else. I do agree with what I heard as I was sort of logging on here earlier. If the Chiefs were to get down to 3, to me, that would be something you'd want to be involved in. Now, I just said, sometimes we're not giving enough credit for, home teams and everything. Home field advantage is not quite what it used to be. I think the travel conditions are better for these guys, and they're more sophisticated. You can get plays called into your ear right from the sideline. But if I look at this run for Joe Burrow, the Ravens defense sucks. I mean, I said this last time I was here. They are so ridiculously overrated. To the point where I don't think they really lose that much with Lamar Jackson not being there. But that's why they're catching 6 at home, because they can't stop anybody. I also happen to think there's something wrong with Matt Stafford. I think one of the most downplayed stories of the year, if you go back to before that Tennessee game, Matt Stafford hadn't practiced that week because of his back. And then I look at how he's been lately, and I just think there's something wrong with him too. He was terrible against Minnesota, wasn't very good the week before against Seattle. And in spite of all that, the Rams are 6-point favorite against the Ravens because they can't stop anyone. So go back the week before that Ravens game, before that 500-yard performance, before that all-world performance from Joe Burrow, who guys just couldn't stop talking about. They get by the Broncos 15-10 because of a busted coverage on Tyler Boyd. That was it. Otherwise, he was awful in that game. They generated 20 points against the Niners defense that's basically a sieve at home. They got another 3 in overtime, but they were not very good on offense in that game. And then they were home against the Chargers the week before, and they were a disaster. Okay, a couple big wins over the Steelers and Raiders, but those were more a function of the mistakes on the other side of the football than they were anything impressive from Joe Burrow. Let's see if Joe Burrow can get a big win. It's home. Okay, fine. Maybe that helps a little bit. Let's see if he can actually handle the pressure against an obviously time-tested Kansas City team. So I think there's something there to look at. I don't know that it's going to go down to 3 before kickoff, but if it does, I would hammer that. I am on a 2-team teaser today. One leg is, as I said earlier, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona is not nearly as bad as they were on Christmas night. The Cowboys, as we already spoke about, I'm not going to do it again, but they have issues against some of these rushing quarterbacks. Dallas's defense, the Cardinals target wide receivers at about a 70% clip. That's high. That's one of the highest in the league. The Dallas Cowboys since week 11, 9.3 yards per attempt to wide receivers. That ranks 27th in the NFL. And listen to who they played. They played the Chiefs, but that was in the wind. That was in the wind in Kansas City. The Raiders, who have no offensive line, a depleted New Orleans team with Taysom Hill, Washington not once but twice, and the New York Football Giants with Mike Glennon at quarterback. This notion that the Dallas Cowboys defense is suddenly an elite unit is just something I'm not buying. And so if I can take 6.5 and make it 12.5, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the Cardinals plus the 12.5 in a teaser. The second leg is actually at 1:00, and that's going to be the Colts. Colts, to me, now you saw the Colts against the Cardinals on Christmas night. Draw a line through that game. They were missing basically their entire offensive line. Carson Wentz wasn't much better, but then again, he was also running for his life there. I think the Raiders have sort of danced through the raindrops to get to this point and be a playoff contender, but they shouldn't be. I mean, they got lucky with Baker Mayfield turning into Nick Mullins, and then last week they got to face Drew Lock and the Broncos, who are as lifeless as it gets on offense. I think this is when they get their comeuppance. Indianapolis is probably the play minus the 8, but let's go -2 here. Let's take the Colts -2, the Cards plus the 12.5, 2-team teaser, and that's where we're at today. That's all I have. I am treading lightly. The COVID stuff has definitely scared me off a little bit. But just some of these situations, you heard me kind of giggling when you're talking about the Patriots and Jags. I mean, a 17-point line there. Your Bucks are 2 touchdown favorites on the road at the Jets, and that's probably the right number. But I mean, come on, it's 2 touchdowns on the road. What are we doing here? Coming off of 2 divisional games. So, and some of these games are just ugly. Like you talked about the Saints and the Panthers, another divisional game. But you got Sam Darnold now back at quarterback. That they are committed to making that kid's head into mashed potatoes in Carolina with Sam Darnold. I mean, and the best part about it is Matt Rule goes and gets rid of Joe Brady. Joe Brady was brought in to fix Sam Darnold. Joe Brady's the guy that gave you Joe Burrow at LSU. That Joe Burrow was nobody. He was like 151 to win the Heisman that year. And now Joe Brady comes in and makes this kid, this journeyman quarterback who was getting mocked before the season, and makes him into a number 1 draft pick. I mean, and what do? Now you can him, and then you decide that Sam Darnold's coming back and he's going to start the last 2 games. What are you trying to do to this guy? You have no offensive line in Carolina. So you just have a lot of ugly situations. I mean, the Chargers would seem to be the side against the Broncos, but For those of you that are going to tell me, well, the Chargers really need this game, you're going to tell me they didn't need last week's game at Houston? That was one of the worst losses in the NFL last year. I mean, for this year, Rex Burkhead put up, I think, over 150 yards or close to it. The Chargers defense was so bad at the end in that game. Houston couldn't even run out the clock because Rex Burkhead was just picking up chunks and chunks and chunks of yardage. They had to score again. It was it was crazy how bad they were. Houston was missing like 8 or 9 defensive starters. Houston was missing 8 or 9 defensive starters. So you just never know what you're going to get with Brandon Staley and his whole team's approach. And I know Brandon Staley thinks he's smarter than everybody. And yes, the Broncos are missing some guys. I'm just not touching that. That you would think on paper that would be like Chargers -9 or 10. But after what happened last week, what do you make of that team? I mean, that team is all over the place. And
I think a lot of they're missing a lot of injuries. They're getting a lot of guys, they're missing a lot of guys via injury. They're gonna be getting back to normal this week. I'm rolling Chargers. I'm going with them this week with all the Broncos guys. Brett, thank you very much for joining us today.
Okay.
By the way, make sure you follow Brett on Twitter at BC, aka the man. And also the Air Attack. Make sure you subscribe to that podcast. One of the best in the industry. That's why we got Brett on here more often than not. So much appreciated for coming on. You have yourself a great 2022. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Walsh. Good luck today.
You got it. All right. There goes BC. And here comes Pauly Parlays. What's up, brother?
Alan, happy 2022. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm doing very well. Happy 22 to you as well. First thing I saw, I was gonna talk to you about it with Brett, but I figured it'd be a great intro for you. Did you know that Tom Brady has 11 consecutive wins against rookie quarterbacks? His last loss to a rookie quarterback was Geno Smith and the Jets in 2013.
So, okay, that's a funny little tidbit there. That's just stealing a Bill Belichick statistic and turning it into a Tom Brady statistic. Because the Belichick number is like 20 something, where the Brady number is 11. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's had any with the Bucks. I don't really know that. I know he has one today, so he'll definitely add to that with a 13.5 point
I'm sure
spread.
he has,
but that's hysterical because that's a Belichick statistic that they turned it into a Brady statistic. That's so funny, and I knew the answer was Geno too.
That is hysterical. By the way, on the same, so I got TweetDeck loaded up right now. So like right next to it, it says 87% of the spread bets are on Tampa Bay -13.5 to cover against the Jets today, as they should be, right? Like
I got that in at least 3 places. Fingers crossed.
Mary Joseph. All right, Paulie, how's it going on this Sunday? How did all those college football playoff games go for you?
You know when they say New Year, New You?
Yeah.
For me, it's New Year, same you, because I have 7 parlays and no straight bets today.
Let's hear them. I
can't go through all of them. There's too many.
All right. Your best one. Your best one.
The only straight bet I have, we talked about on our show on Thursday, is a Travis Kelce prop bet. It's the only straight bet I have. I found it. It's a 74.5 receiving yards. I took the over.
Okay.
What's my favorite parlay? I mean, come on, I have so many of them. How can I tell you which is my favorite? That's like asking which is my favorite kid that I don't have. I can give you one I did last night, which is 5 legs. 100 to win $1,127.
Boy,
that sounds okay.
You might be able to come to Myrtle Beach with me too.
I'll start with something that you were just talking to with. It's Brett or Brent? Brett. No, because I have a good friend named Brent. So I always ask, because if you call him Brett, he gets really mad.
All right.
All right. So I got the Chargers -6.5.
Okay.
Chiefs money line. I should have taken it -2.5, but honestly, that game could be legitimately a 31-30 final score. So I'm like, whatever. Let it be. Cardinals +7. I also have the Cowboys money line in another one, but I think the line just went too far, where at the key number of 7, I like the Cardinals.
Okay.
Seahawks -6.5. And then the final leg is the Browns on Monday night money line. But that's sort of there so I could potentially hedge on the Steelers.
Yeah.
But I do think the Browns.
You are the hedgeman.
Well, you can hedge on the back end. I can guarantee that I'll win a nice number. But I really think the Browns are going to win that game. I think the narrative of the whole Big Ben's last home game is going to get a lot of people to bet on Pittsburgh, but they're by far the worst team in that game.
Yeah, I looked at that line as soon as it opened, and I said to myself, Brand, I think it was 2.5. They opened it -2.5 favorites or 3, right around there. And then once it went up to 3.5, I was like, nah, like it's Big Ben's final home game. He's gonna get embarrassed by the Browns, and it's gonna be awful. One thing I wanted to mention, by the way, with your Seahawks pick, I am also going to be tailing that today as a straight up bet. I saw Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond both out today for Detroit with the COVID. So, I mean, who are you getting the ball to, right? TJ Hawkinson.
Who's throwing the ball?
Tim Doyle. Oh, shit.
That's the problem. Goff is out.
The Goff guy.
They're literally just going to hand the ball off 1,000 times, and that's not going to do very much.
I can't believe I just said that. Hosting a football show, the Goff guy. Like,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, the Goff guy.
I'm trying to see what other like good ones I can give you. Oh, speaking of that one, I have the Lions +7.5 in a parlay, but I did it when Jared Goff was still the quarterback.
Yeah,
so I'm not so happy about it. It's Bucks -13.5, which we already talked about. Lions +7.5 and Dolphins +3.5.
Why do I have the feeling Ryan Suckup's going to miss an extra point late? Like, it's just going to happen.
Okay. Speaking of kickers, I'm in my fantasy final. I have Matt Gay. Do I take him out because the Ravens are really good at stopping kickers, or do I just trust the Rams offense and Matt Gay to get?
Do you mean that they're really good at allowing touchdowns?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought you meant.
I also have Matthew Stafford, so I've had that fake stack all year where I have Stafford as my quarterback, I have Gay as my kicker, and as long as they get in the red zone, I get some points. And the Rams get in the red zone a whole lot.
I think so. And we've seen the line, come up here for the Rams. I am nervous as hell right now because I'm going against Matt Stafford, going against Tyreek Hill, right? Like, these are two guys.
I have both of them.
So I'm going against both of these guys, and I'm just like, damn, bro. Like, can you please not put up 30 points today? But I think that's where the Travis Kelce thing comes into play too, where we get him. Getting a little more production here than Tyreek Hill. He just scares the shit out of me, man. He's so fast. He makes fast people look not fast. What movie?
I should know.
Yard.
I should know the answer to that.
The Caretaker. Longest Yard.
Oh, nice. That's good.
No, wait. No. Not the Caretaker. The old crazy white guy who like spied on the players and gave the film to the guards. That guy.
You're talking about the Adam Sandler Longest Yard.
Yes.
Not the original.
That's
with
correct.
Great Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
That
was interesting, by the way.
It was okay. Come on.
It was interesting. I didn't say it was good. I said it was interesting.
My favorite part was that Adam Sandler was dating a beautiful Courtney Cox at the beginning of the movie.
That's right.
That's the best part of the whole movie. The first scene, the dress she's wearing was the best part of the movie.
Oh, knockout.
And then he ruins her car. That scene was funny, where he looks up to the camera.
I think we should see other people.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Courtney Cox, also a knockout in a dress in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective when they go to Tom the lawyer's house.
Tom the lawyer. Yep.
Should I just call you lawyer or? I'm sorry. He was Tom Ace. Gee, I'm all off my game. As you can tell, I'm super nervous right now. We're getting down to the final minutes here before kickoff, before a couple of us, enter the fantasy finals this week. I'm going to be out there watching it with the people. It's going to be a great time.
So I got one more for you. I know I sent you my championship lineup last night.
Okay.
In my flex spot, I have since removed AJ Green and put MVS back in.
Okay.
But I have till 4:00 to flip it back. I'm totally tinkering right now. But I saw that was a 4:00. So I'm like, I can wait as long as everybody else is good before the show. But I'm really like double and triple thinking it. And I don't know what to do. If it wasn't -5 degrees in Green Bay, I would definitely have MVS in. He killed the Vikings the last time they played. He also got 10 targets the last time they played. But I just don't know if they're going to be able to throw the ball. The weather is so frigid that I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place with my flex spot there.
So our boy Frank Emirante all week has been advocating for the fade of Justin Jefferson today.
I saw that.
Which I thought was interesting, right? But let's also put this in perspective too, is that he's got other options, right? Like he's got a Cortland Sutton without Tim Patrick and Jerry Jeudy today, right? Like that's an option. Now me on the team where I have Justin Jefferson, all of my wide receivers are in the starting line, right? Like I only have 4 wide receivers because I ain't ever replacing them. Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, and Brandon Ayuk, right? So those are my 4 guys.
2 guys there who are in the worst weather possible for a wide receiver.
Yes, yeah.
And they're your 2 best guys.
Yeah.
That's tough, dude.
And Deontay on Monday night in Pittsburgh, which it's going to be like South Miami weather, right? South Miami. Come on. Ridiculous.
I don't know, man. I keep flip-flopping, and I just don't trust AJ Green. That's the problem. Since D-Hop has been out, the Cardinals have not been good. And Trayvon Diggs is going to guard him. So what does that say to me? Like, do I try for the guy who could catch that 170-yard pass, or do I want a guy who might catch 4 12-yard passes?
No, I think Green is your guy because number one, let's look at the total, right? You get a 51 total in the Cardinals Cowboys game, right? That's always appealing. A lot of the guys here at the Sharp app, they are taking the Cardinals today with the points. A couple guys even taking the money line today. So, that could certainly be interesting there. I think that this will be a close game, though. Like the Cardinals just haven't played well. And BC, who was just on last, he talked about it too. Cardinals wide receivers have a 70% target share here over the last couple games. So Green going to get targeted. Yeah, he might have a tough matchup, but I do think that we're going to see quite a few points in this game. And, and again, you're getting an indoors AJ Green against like a Siberia -5 degree weather, Montarius Valdez Squiggles Scantling.
Okay, fine. I'll flip it back.
Yeah. I mean, I think Green's the way to go here.
Oh, now, from our show Thursday, real quick, because we have 8 minutes before kickoff.
Yep.
Did you ever find the defensive touchdown parlay that we were talking about?
I did not.
Let's do it right now. All
right.
Unless you have something really important to hit on in the last 5 minutes.
I got it. No.
So everyone that's listening, Al and I were talking on our Thursday show, which is called Taking Sides. Follow us on Twitter, taking_sides, about that all these really good defenses are playing really bad quarterbacks this week, and that we should parlay defensive touchdowns because it'll pay like crazy. But I don't even know if you can. And where we came to was we got to find if we can parlay Bucks defensive touchdown and Pat's defensive touchdown. And this is me reminding Al to do that.
So the only thing that I see is first Bucks touchdown, Buccaneers defense 12 plus 1,200.
But there's no it would be under any time.
Yeah, no, I'm not seeing it. At least not on Caesars. Let's see. Let's go to DraftKings. They usually have a shit ton.
Yeah, or you might also have to just pick other than the players.
Okay.
You get right. The other, which I think
I definitely wasn't even looking for other.
Which I think includes defense, right?
Let's see here. Why is this game all the way at the top? We're doing live TV. Geez, Le'Veon Bell plus 450 today to score a touchdown. Wow.
I don't even know what team. Le'Veon's on the Bucks now, right?
He is on the Bucks. All right, so Bucks defense plus 400.
Okay,
that is a lot lower than we thought.
Right. I said it would be like between 5 and 7, but that's literally saying Zach Wilson is going to throw a pick six.
Yeah.
And then I wonder what the Pats will be. My guess is that's a bit higher, so it's worse, but then it's better. You know what I'm saying?
Here.
You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. The DraftKings site was just going crazy on me.
Can you parlay? That's what Pauly Parlays wants to know. If you can parlay defensive touchdowns.
My God. All right. So Patriots defense plus 380, Buccaneers defense plus 400.
It's not as good as we thought it would
be. But that means that it's probably going to happen.
I hope. And then what if you put them together? What does $10 pay?
230.
So you want to do 20?
Yeah.
We'll do 10 each. Like we talked about it on Thursday.
Yeah, I gotta go on my DraftKings site to do this now because my computer's stupid and the that Geo plugin location, I don't know, it just doesn't work on my phone, or I'm sorry, on my computer. So
it's having trouble geolocating you.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid.
While you're doing that, also don't forget that we have the first half under in the Giants Bears game.
We do.
It's also funny.
Under 19.5.
Yeah, under 19.5.
Yeah, and Andy Dalton's starting at quarterback now, so I'm sure that shit went down to like 16.5.
I don't know. Andy Dalton has had these statistical best 3 games of a Chicago Bears quarterback this year, and guess how many games he's played? 3.
Really?
Yeah. So as an NFL quarterback, he's better than Nick Foles and Justin Fields, like according to QBR. But then you think about him, and he's just, he's purely average. But, he's the perfect bridge quarterback. I would love for the Giants to get him, pair him with just to put some pressure on Daniel Jones. If they're going to keep him, get someone in here who can at least push Daniel Jones to not think like I'm good either way. Like Andy Dalton could take that job. Gardner Minshew is the guy that I would love to get because I think he'd also be great with the New York media. He would. And he's better than a lot of starting quarterbacks. I just don't know. I think the Eagles might overpay him as a backup like they currently are just to keep him in-house.
I feel By the way, hey, real quick, I just wanted to tell you that the first half under or first half total there went to 17.5.
Nice. Closing line value.
Yeah, baby. All right, so I got to get this last one in. Anything else that you want to tell the people while I get this in?
I can tell you that I think it's absolutely unbelievable that we are now in 2022, that we are in week 17, and that our bankrolls are still in the positive. That's a positive of the season as a whole. A couple of other. So I said I have 7 parlays, but 2 of them are almost like halvesies.
Okay.
Where I have two team money line parlays, just because I don't know. I don't even know why I did them, but I did them. Like I totally could have just taken all 4 teams money line either together or separately or whatever. I ended up making 2 and 2. So I took the Saints with the Cowboys and I took the Rams with the Chargers. Both odds are about 90 to win about 75. It's one of those, like, what am I doing here? And why am I trying to dodge bullets where sure, could any of those 4 teams lose, but I don't think 2 of the 4 will lose. So I feel like they'll cover each other, but we'll see. The NFL is like running through landmines every week. Last week, the Chargers killed me. If the Chargers just all they have to do is win. You don't have to cover 12.5. All you have to do is beat the Houston Texans and you lose by 12, 13, whatever it was. That killed me last week.
Just so many injuries in that game. By the way, bet is in $20 to win $480 for Bucks and Patriots defensive touchdowns in a 2-leg parlay. All right. That's how we're going to wrap it up, folks. I got a ton. By the way, I just saw this stat here too. Kyler Murray, 8-0 career record at AT&T Stadium. He played a ton of games there as a high school kid. So
he got 7 wins as a high school kid.
Basically. Yeah, nice. So everybody, good luck today. We're coming right up against Kickoff here. Probably be tweeting out some fun stuff today. I'm sure Paul as well. So make sure you guys are following us on Twitter. Me at 14a.walsh, Paul at Game Day Facts. Make sure you follow Philly Godfather at Philly Godfather, Brett at BC, aka the Man, and the Taking Sides app. Also, download the Sharp app at sharp.app. You're going to be able to track your bets and put them up against me, the Geek, Anthony, Steve C, StatStational, all these great guys out there. So this is going to be awesome. Best of luck to everybody. Me, Paul, the internet, we gone. Best of luck. Week 17. Peace.